Biology. Today's topic is comparative genome hybridization. So, what is comparative genome hybridization? If we look at the definitions, we'll find that in comparative genome hybridization, it is made up of three words. Comparative means whenever we want to compare. Genomic comes from the DNA, and hybridization is a technique when we hybridized a fragment of nucleic acid with another nucleic acid. So it is comparative genomic hybridization. So by hybridizing, we can find out if there is any comparison between the genome. So between what we have to compare, we have to compare a diseased or an affected genotype with a normal one. So normal will give the best result, and when we compare it with the diseased person or the sample, the changes as we observed will interpret the hybridization complications. So what are the complications? What do we analyze? We will see in the next slides. So comparative genome hybridization, it is a molecular technique which help in analyzing the copy numbers. Suppose there are fragments of a gene which has been copied 5 times. So that will give, if that is hybridized, then it will give a high intensity. We see in the following slides also how the increase in copy number. You can just understand that when I'm talking about copy number increasing, it means that one of the gene is getting add on in an extraordinary manner. So that has to be identified, and we have to compare it with the reference genome. Now, this technique is primarily used for detecting the gain or loss of the chromosomal region. If there is any addition in the chromosome or if there is deletion in the chromosome, we can identify using this comparative genomic hybridization techniques. So, what is the principle? The principle is based on the competition hybridization or competitive hybridization of the differentially labeled DNA samples. What are the DNA samples? We have to take samples, one for the reference and another from a test, specifically in the metaphase conditions. All the chromosomes must be present in a metaphasic conditions, and then we follow few steps so that at the end we can infer that the test sample has any added gene or any deleted gene. That is the main inference which will conclude after performing this experiment. So what is the procedure? First, we have to isolate the genomic DNA from the reference as well as the test sample. If it is a tumorous cell, then you have to isolate the DNA from the tumor cells. If it is a normal cell, then we have to take it from the normal cell. First step is DNA extraction. After extracting, we have to take it in a condition where we can use it for labeling. So we can use labeling. We will use two colors for labeling. One colors for labeling the tumor cells or the test sample, and another color we use for labeling the reference. The labeled DNA with one fluorochrome, either it is green FITC or with a different or like red, anything you can use which has a fluorescence property. So we have to fix it before doing that. We are labeling the test with green or red. The other color will be that of the reference cells. After doing this, then we have to denature the DNAs, and after denaturing, all must be in a normal metaphasic conditions, and then we will find the single stranded DNA. Now these single stranded DNA are radio labeled or fluorochrome containing substances. Now we will hybridize it with a standard uh, standardization or hybridization probe. Now what will happen if the probes matches with the sequence, then there will be complete binding. If their probe is not matching with the symptoms, then there will be incomplete binding. After this hybridization, there will be hybridization washes so as to remove the unbounded or the extra or the false binding, and then we have to counter stain the chromosomes with the DAPI or propodium iodide, and this propodium iodide will help in visualization with fluorescence microscopy to analyze the green red signals, because we have taken green and red, and then that green red ratio will give you the chromosomal or will interpret the chromosomal anomalies. So this is the overall procedure. So I want to revise it again. First you have to take the DNAs from the samples, that is a tumor cells or a reference cells. Then you have to label it. After labeling you have to denature it. Then we have to go with hybridization. After hybridization we have to do post hybridization washes, and then we have to counter stain it with propydium iodide or DAPI. Then we do the image analysis. After image analysis we go for with the results to get a green to red ratio. Now understand this. We have here in this experiments, I have taken the patient sample as green labeled and the reference as red labeled. So the reference, if the sample matches with your reference, then it will be binding with the red ones, but if there is non-matching, then there will be labeling changed. Now what will happen? Now when we talk about the banding patterns, first suppose both are matching, the red will get hybridized with the green. Okay, the red is getting hybridized with the green. So if the part of the DNA which is labeled with green fluorescence is exactly matching with the part which is having red fluorescence, it means the patient sample is exactly similar sequences or same sequences which can get matched or which can get attached with the reference. So the ratio of red and green is 1:1 because they are equal. So you will get a band as a flat band which is 1:1. Now if suppose the green copies are present in 2 units or 1.5 units, and red labeled is only 1 unit. So when we have the hybridization, we will have one part red matching with one part of green, but zero point 0.5 of green is again extra. So it will show as a band fluctuation towards the green part. So 1.5 green and 1 red. Similarly, if it is 0.5 green and 1 red, then it will be showing a deviations. Again, I am trying to explain you again. If suppose the green is the patient and red is the reference, if they are exactly matching, then the ratio is 1:1. If the green is greater, the fragment of green is different from that of red, then there will be no complete matching. So the ratio of matching is 1.5 to 1. So the graph will be tilted towards green. If there is red more, then it will be tilted towards red. So this fluctuations will denotes that there is gain or deletions in the, if the value is 1:1, it means then there is no addition, no deletion. If there is value increases from 1, then there is addition. If it is decreasing from 1, then there is deletion. So exact ratio 1:1 is no changes, the patient and the reference are similar, where if there is again more values in any of the bands, it means that is having a duplication, and if it is less, then it is having deletions. Hope it has been clear. If you have still doubts, you can mention it in the comment section. Now the interpretation, if it is approximately 1, there is no copy number changes. If it is greater than 1, then there is duplication or amplification. If it is less than 1, which is a loss or deletion, I have already and told you this. Now, when we talked about the array of this, the array replaces the metaphase chromosomes with a DNA microarray, which gives thousands of known DNA sequences. And the most advantage is there is a higher resolution than the classical techniques, and it is more accurate and automated. It detects small changes in the nucleotide bases. There it can detect micro deletion, it can analyze or detect micro duplication, and this is applicable for archived DNA samples. Application of chromosomes, yeah, comparative genomic hybridizations in clinical diagnosis. It helps in clinical chromosomal imbalances like developmental delay, mental retardation, autism, congenital abnormalities, and all that. Cancer genomics, it identifies the oncogenic amplifications and tumor suppression deletions. It helps in mapping the chromosomal aberrations in the solid chromosomes. In research, it's help in studying of evolutionary genetics, chromosome rearrangement, models, and genomic instabilities. These are the few highlighted points which where the comparative genomic hybridization has been used. The limitation is it cannot detect the balance rearrangement. If there is translocation or there is inversion, it cannot be detected. And it requires high quality metaphase spread, otherwise it cannot be hybridized. It has a lower resolution, and there is poor detection in mosaic formation. Now, when we talk about the classical method with the array method, we will find that the resolution in classical is about 5 to 10 MB, whereas in array it is approximately 50 kilobases or better. Platforms, it requires metaphasic chromosome, whereas in array comparative genomic hybridization, it can use the DNA microarrays. When we talk about the balance rearrangement, it cannot be detected in the classical method as well as in the array method. Some sample requirement, the amount of DNA is large in classical methods because every time we have to label it and we have to hybridize it. In array method, it is less required. Application is a broad overview. Fine mapping of CNVs are observed in array comparative genomic hybridization. So we can conclude that a comparative genome hybridization has significantly advanced the field of the cytogenetics, where it can help in unbiased method, unbiasing and identify the chromosomal changes or chromosomal number alterations. Chromosome structures can be detected like insertion and deletions, but translocation and inversions cannot be diagnosed. So revolutionary, it has a revolutionary clinical diagnosis which has a higher resolution, higher reliability and efficiency. And despite this limitations and detecting balanced rearrangement, this remains a cornerstone technology for genomic profiling, especially in oncology and clinical genetics.